Denver 7's Troy Reck joins me now. And Troy, 1 year ago today was really that moment when the world of sports stood still. We started seeing games canceled and then seasons canceled. Take me back to that day and really what that was like.
Yeah, I remember sitting on the couch. My wife, I were watching the Nuggets Mavs game. And it came across the screen that Rudy Gobert of the Utah Jazz had tested positive for COVID-19. And my reaction was, uh-oh, like now it's going to get real, because before it felt like it was controllable and maybe it was going to happen in one region or another. But once an NBA player tested positive, how are they going to continue to play? And you saw the ramifications. Eventually, the Nuggets finished their game that night, but it became very clear within a couple of hours that sports were going to change dramatically. And then the watershed moment for me, Jason, was not long after that when the NCAA tournament was canceled. I mean, that is the biggest sporting event in America outside of the Super Bowl. So if you didn't understand the gravity of it, you did then. I never thought I'd see anything like it in my lifetime, where sports was canceled for, more than a week. I covered 9/11 when I was in baseball. That was a week. To see it basically go on for a calendar year, it has been just startling. And thankfully, it looks like we're coming out the other side.
Well, you and the rest of our Denver 7 sports department and sports reporters and anchors all around the world all of a sudden didn't have anything to cover for an extended period of time. And then coming back into it, it was so totally different. Can you just kind of walk me through what that was like?
Yeah, covering sports without sports is not ideal. We don't have a UFC, Russian ping pong, and a horse racing beat. Those are pretty much the only events that were going on starting in about May. And a lot of the coverage initially was talking to athletes who had their seasons canceled or interrupted, a lot of seniors, high school seniors, college seniors. And so while there was a huge downside to it, the positive side was learning about Zoom and being able to do remote interviews with college gymnasts, high school athletes, a former Rockies pitcher who became a firefighter. I interviewed high school kids who played in college, my own sons in college baseball. And so there was an upside to being able to do more stories and do stories creatively that we weren't able to do typically. But it's hard to explain what it's like to miss a Sunday Broncos, the walking into the parking lot with a full Broncos country, full throat in the stands. It's just, sports are made for that. I have that longing for the feeling and the energy that sports brings.
Well, at least we did have one of those early Broncos Zoom interviews where the camera or the laptop fell right away. And we all learned that, those athletes, those coaches, they're people too, trying to figure out this whole Zoom thing. So, okay, the pandemic and sports specifically, it's impacted a lot of us. A lot of our favorite team seasons got canceled, delayed, changed. From a personal aspect, you talked about covering sports, but personally for you, you're a sports dad too. This hit you in multiple ways.
Yeah, so we live sports. We're a sports family. My oldest son was a junior at UCCS as a pitcher in the RMAC for University of Colorado Springs. His season got shut down. And at the time, we thought he might pitch a fourth year. He could have pitched 2 more years, but going to grad school for him didn't make sense. So he graduated in 3 years. And I understood that decision, but we missed that moment. Like a lot of families I know to some people, they kind of roll their eyes at it, but when you've competed since you were 5 until you're 23, 24 years old, those moments do matter. They provide closure. And so we missed that with my oldest son. And my youngest son, he was a freshman at Westmont College in Santa Barbara. They had a team that was going to probably win their conference. But selfishly, when people ask me what team do I root for the team my sons are on. And my oldest son ended without the closure. We didn't get to see him pitch at home his final season. And my youngest son, they get deprived of an opportunity to do something special in the postseason. But listen, people had it way worse. These are first world problems, but sports bind us in ways. They have relationships that connect us in ways that I've never found in any business.
Hopefully, the only direction right now is back up and back to that new normal. Denver 7's Troy Reck, thanks so much for the time today.
Thank you, Jason.